Chris, Indiana State Police tell me they're still looking into Nation's alibi at this point and will push to test a sample of his DNA to either clear him or connect him to the Delphi case. They had a shootout with one of those suspects here in the middle of Pendleton Pike and Post Road. I'm going to step out of the way now. You can see there's still dozens of officers here on scene. 4 affected so far, 2 a complete and total loss tonight. Take a look. They're using every angle they can here in Columbus to fight this fire. That driver was in a dark-colored Chevy Tahoe when they hit Beasley while she was walking in this area, then took off. What happened that day exactly 1 year ago out here in the Delphi Historic Trails, and how was the killer just able to walk away? It's not so much the snow people are worrying about that's coming down at those high speeds like last time we checked in, but it's the wind and the visibility. Take a look at that. Law enforcement officials are reviewing their safety and security plans. Tonight, his parents tell me they want Jessica Moss to be held accountable for the death of their son. That's right, Michaela. Last time we talked to you, there was no suspect in this investigation. As we mentioned last time, it was very frustrating for officials here. I watched officials remove dozens of animals from this Daleville farm that they say is a disgusting mess. To find the killer or killers of Abby and Libby, and they're taking this extremely personal. Tonight, Kim Townsend tells me she has more than $80,000 in medical bills after she was thrown to the ground by Marion County deputies and IMPD officers. An arrest caught on camera.
All I know is I was on the ground.
Leads to a federal lawsuit.
This is a matter where you have trained law enforcement that acted in a totally outrageous manner.
This surveillance video from January 6th of 2016 shows the moment when Marion County Sheriff deputies and IMPD officers took Kim Townsend into police custody.
I felt a punch in the back of my head. I felt a kick to my face. I felt somebody stepping on my feet, stepping on my hands.
That video was given to us by Townsend's attorney, Greg Coulis, who tells us the use of force you see on your screen was unnecessary, unreasonable, and unprovoked.
Police officers grab her in a very forceful manner and literally throw her to the pavement like she was a rag doll.
What that video does not show is what led to her arrest. According to a police report, a Marion County Sheriff deputy tried to pull Townsend over for failure to use a turn signal. Deputies say at first Townsend did come to a complete stop near 33rd and Graceland, but then she took off. According to the lawsuit, Townsend suffered torn ligaments, knocked out teeth, and fractures in her face. She's suing for compensation for those medical bills. She's currently facing charges of resisting law enforcement and operating a vehicle as a habitual traffic violator.
I'm really just trying to take one day at a time, trying to build my life back up together again.
I did reach out to the Marion County Sheriff's Department and IMPD to comment on this pending case, ask them to sit down and review that surveillance video with us. Both departments tell us tonight they cannot comment on pending litigation. Investigators say they found enough stolen property to fill 3 two-car garages completely, but tonight the suspect tells me he had no idea any of that stuff was stolen. So you're driving around with thousands of dollars in stolen items, and tonight you tell us they're just not yours?
No, it's not me. I don't steal.
But police say Brian Stewart was driving around Columbus with thousands of dollars worth of stolen items.
I do have proof I didn't steal those items.
What is it?
Nobody ever seen me stealing items because I never stole anything.
Police say they found jewelry and other valuables inside of his car. Investigators say those items were stolen during several burglaries around central Indiana. Tonight, Stewart says someone left those stolen items in his car.
There was just a lot of items, from somebody had borrowed it earlier, and they paid me to say they said they were moving.
Later, detectives served 2 warrants at a home in town and a storage unit. There, they found stolen TVs, a stolen car, watches, passports, and Social Security cards. Around $100,000 of stolen items in total.
I'm not saying I've never received any stolen property. Sure, I'm just saying I don't go out and steal things myself.
Stewart says he bought some of those items from people in town, but tells me he never asked questions about where they got that stuff. So people would come to you with people's Social Security numbers, people's passports, audio and stereo equipment, and they would just give it to you and say, how much will you give me for this?
Basically.
Stewart claims his friend owns the storage facility and a friend left those items in the car, but tells me he doesn't know where they are now. A lot of friends, huh? Where are all the friends now to help you out?
I don't know none of their phone numbers, actually.
As police continue to try to track down the people who had these items stolen, Holly and Stewart remain behind bars here at the Bartholomew County Jail. Reporting tonight in Columbus, I'm Alexis McAdams. Back to you. Family members tell me these men were tortured inside of their own home. And according to these court documents, that caretaker admitted he had a meltdown and hit the men several times. Police say 2 disabled men.
He has cerebral palsy. He's nonverbal. He can't walk.
Were beaten, bruised, and attacked inside of their own home by their caretaker.
He wears a diaper. He can't get up and walk. He can't tell somebody he's got to go to the bathroom. So that's, that's their job to take care of him and change him.
The man who was supposed to be doing that, 23-year-old Michael Anderson, is now facing felony charges. According to court documents, Anderson beat the 2 disabled roommates so badly he broke their bones. Before the men were beaten, one of the victims reportedly had an accident in bed. Court documents say Anderson went in to change the bed sheets and had a meltdown.
He slugged him in the chest with his fist, and then when he got done with him, he went into his roommate's room and started hitting him.
Barbara Greathouse, the mom of 49-year-old Anthony Harris, is sick over the fact that her son and his disabled roommate were left helpless.
It's hard to talk about it.
They were being tortured by him systematically.
Scott Banke, the family's attorney, tells me while investigating, they discovered this was not the first time Anthony was hurt by Anderson.
Anthony's fingers had been broken, and the way they had to be broken is bent this way.
Both men are recovering from their physical injuries, but are afraid to go back into their own bedroom.
I wouldn't even go to prison for a long time.
A lasting effect Barbara tells me she just can't forgive.
I will not accept his apology. I can't. I won't.
Tonight, Anderson remains behind bars facing these charges while the family works to file a civil lawsuit against ResCare. That's the company who hired Anderson as the caretaker. We'll continue to keep you updated on this developing story. Reporting tonight downtown, I'm Alexis McAdams. Back to you. Standing back out here today in the trails, the family thought of all those questions again, and we asked Indiana State Police to answer some of those tonight, like what happened that day exactly 1 year ago out here in the Delphi historic trails, and how was the killer just able to walk away?
And he saw something, and he couldn't figure out what it was. And there was 2 deer standing up there, but as he looked up to what that was, is when he saw them.
It was a volunteer searcher who discovered the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German, laying in the grass between these trees deep in the woods.
He called his wife, who was with us, and said, "We found him." My sister come up and she was just crying. And she said, "I'm so sorry."
Just 24 hours before, the girls were hiking these trails, dropped off around 1:45 that afternoon on February 13th. 25 minutes later, Libby posted this Snapchat. By 3:11, they'd gone silent. Libby's dad trying to track them down.
He got there and nobody was there, and he ran into a guy and asked, he was coming from the bridge and said, did you happen to see 2 girls up there? And he said, no, I didn't. By 4 o'clock, it's like, oh man.
By 5 o'clock, a full-blown search party was combing these woods. The whole time, the families think their girls are just hurt, cold, and lost.
Somebody's fallen, gotten hurt. They had a terrible sense of direction. Something has happened. We just didn't know what.
Even 1 year later, what happened is still hard for the girls' families to process.
We know where they were, and we know where they ended up. And there is 500 different ways in your head that it could have happened or could have gone and how they got there.
I've gone through every scenario. I've walked that. I've lived it. I've imagined.
The family's holding on to key pieces of evidence, like this picture, the detailed sketch, and the killer's voice. Both families keeping the faith that the man who murdered their little girls will be brought to justice.
They will get to the bottom of all of it eventually. I've never doubted for 1 minute, because any minute now, this is all going to be over.
And tonight, investigators tell us they're very confident they're getting closer to catching this killer. They even reference that if he's listening tonight to any of this coverage, their message for them is they're coming for him. The arrest could come tonight or tomorrow. Tonight, though, Abby and Libby still need your help. The families need your help, and Indiana State Police need your help. So if you have any information on the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German, pick up the phone and call the Delphi tip line. That number, 844-459-5786. Reporting tonight live in Delphi, I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox 59 News.